Washed by the Atlantic, Ascension Island is a distant remnant of the British Empire. It's still home to hundreds of people, though. The population has severely reduced over the past decade. Now, let's take a look. So this tiny dot, as you can see here, is Ascension Island. It's situated roughly midway between the Horn of South America and Africa. It may be small, but for the islanders, the problem it represents is huge. Residents and human rights activists accuse the British government of squeezing the life out of the volcanic island. The reason? America wants to expand a military base there. RT's Laura Smith investigates.
It's a tiny island in the mid-Atlantic, made of volcanic rock and covered in pigeon guano. But to 800 people, it's home, for now. The story of Ascension Island has all the hallmarks of being another Diego Garcia, the British-owned Indian Ocean island, whose inhabitants were forced to leave to make way for a US airbase, despite having lived there for generations. Islanders accuse the British government of emptying Ascension, uprooting families who've been there for more than a century. 10 years ago, it all looked so different. Britain was promising democratic institutions for the island, a legal right to live there and to own property. It wanted a viable community there. But today the population's already decreased by a quarter, with communities replaced by contract workers. Retired or unemployed people over 18 have to leave. And the similarities with Diego Garcia don't end there. The dominant feature on the island is, you guessed it, an American airbase, heavily used during President Obama's recent trip to Africa. There are also satellite and submarine tracking stations and one of those now infamous listening posts run by GCHQ. The British government now conveniently insists Ascension has no indigenous population, and many residents believe they intend to evacuate the island completely and abandon it to the Americans. Far from the dreams of a permanent home they had a decade ago, islanders fear they'll be reduced to pawns in the special relationship.
Now, David Lindsay's family originates from the island, and he says it's outrageous that British citizens could be forced out on the whim of the U.S. military.
I have been there several times, though, and as I say, most people on Ascension Island are of St. Helenian origin, and my family certainly is, and I was born there. There is a very, very strong sense that Ascension Island is being, one might almost say, starved to death. There is the precarious character of political representation there. There is the absence of guaranteed property rights, or indeed of very much property rights at all. People are born there. People do live their entire working lives there. People do wish to retire there, but cannot do so, may not do so. It's not permitted. This is because, I don't think there's any serious doubt, because of pressure from the American base there, which is largely intelligence related. And it is a serious question to be asked about why on British territory, British citizens living there, these are full British passport holders, why these peoples are being treated like this for the sake of a station, a base, which is almost certainly, you might know more of the details of this in fact, engaged in the activities that have been such a huge global story in terms of spying on pretty much everyone. But that is happening on British, not on American territory, and a British population there is being mistreated.